So guys, we have some brand new teasers for The Flash Season 9 episodes 4 and 5, which is obviously the finale for the Red Death arc, hinting to the final showdown between the Flash and Red Death, the Flash's greatest mistake, and many more, such as time travel connections and various other things like that. So if that sounds interesting, let's break it all down. Yo, what is going on guys, Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 9. And yeah, as I said, in this video we will be breaking down the synopsis for both The Flash Season 9 Episode 4 as well as Episode 5, titled The Mask of the Red Death Parts 1 and 2, so it's pretty much a two-parter finale. So yeah, most recently we are just about to head into episode 3 in a couple of days, in which early reviews suggested in regards to episode 3 that it is by far the best episode of The Flash Season 9 so far, which isn't really saying a lot because we've only had 3 episodes this season. But yeah, apparently episode 3 is like very action packed, and obviously we get to see like more like the Rogues, Red Death, and various other things like that. And obviously with that comes more mysteries being, teased / revealed in regards to Red Death and what Red Death's big plan is. And yeah, now that Red Death has finally arrived and now is no longer vibrating, she is ready to wreak havoc and get her revenge against the Flash for a specific reason. But yeah, we do have the synopsis for both episodes 4 and 5, as I said, the finale for this Red Death arc. So we'll be breaking it all down and giving you guys my overall thoughts and theories in regards to what I think could potentially happen. So first things first, I'll go over the synopsises, I'll read them out, and then we'll obviously do the more in-depth breakdown afterwards. So firstly, for episode 4, Let There Be Darkness. The Flash is forced to make an impossible choice. With the power out in the city, Team Flash calls upon the Rogue Squad to help as Iris is visited by an old friend. Joe and Cecile work on finding a balance. And then episode 5, The Era of the Red Death. As the Red Death wreaks havoc on Central City, Barry and Iris come up with a plan to turn to Cecile for help. Barry is faced with what he thinks was his greatest mistake and the Red Death's greatest success. Keon wants to help Team Flash, but Barry can't risk losing her. Joe gives Barry a very much needed pep talk. So yeah, both of which are some very detailed and very interesting teasers for these coming episodes. Now, firstly, breaking down the first part of the episode 4 synopsis, the Flash is forced to make an impossible choice. Now, in regards to what this impossible choice is, we don't really know. Now, all we know is that Red Death, after her, gathering these particles to obviously stop her from vibrating, her next plan is to build a time machine for a specific reason, whether it's to go back to her timeline or use it for another purpose, which could potentially put the timeline at risk. But maybe the Flash's impossible choice could be to, let Red Death go back to her timeline, let Red Death actually build this time machine. But again, regardless of what happens, maybe Red Death will still wreak havoc. So that could be something that happens, or it could be maybe some sort of sacrifice potentially, because obviously we know the one thing Red Death is after is Barry. Barry did something to Red Death, which is why, Red Death is after the Flash. So maybe, there could be some sort of bargain, maybe not even a bargain, maybe Barry's just doing it to offer himself in exchange to keep his city not in danger, because Red Death is a big threat. Now obviously we didn't really see Red Death do anything that threatening yet, but as we've heard from teasers such as the one from season 5, which I know is probably not going to happen, but we're supposed to assume that Red Death is this type of villain that goes around just slaughtering people, just wreaking havoc on Central City. So maybe with this, the Flash pretty much, the choice is to maybe surrender himself so that his loved ones are safe, or something like that at least. I don't know. But then with the power out in the city, Team Flash calls upon the Rogue Squad to help as Iris is visited by an old friend. So in regards to why the power is out in the city, I don't know. It could be for Red Death's, time machine, and that's why it's drawing all of this energy, and that's why all the power is cut from the city. In regards to, the Rogue Squad, we obviously know who the Rogue Squad consists of. We do get a glimpse of it in episode 3, those being Goldface, Jacob Birch, Chilblain, and Hartley Rathaway. And in regards to who Iris is visited by, you could assume that this could be a Batwoman, but the thing is, it's not very well worded, because by an old friend suggests that it's someone from the past. But also, we know Batwoman will be in this episode, but Batwoman isn't really an old friend, because in this point in time, Batwoman and Iris, or just anyone in Team Flash in general, haven't met yet. So this will be quite interesting. But I'm guessing it's talking about Batwoman, but by the way it just says visited by an old friend, it does seem to be an old friend of Iris's, which leads me to believe it could be someone else as well, but I'm pretty sure it's Batwoman. But then the last part of that synopsis, Joe and Cecile work on finding a balance, and this obviously has to do with, everything going on with Joe, and him suggesting to Cecile that they should leave Central City, but no, Cecile wants to go through this whole, superhero stuff, so, maybe they're just trying to find a balance in regards to all of that. But then going into the episode 5 synopsis. The era of the Red Death. As the Red Death wreaks havoc on Central City, Barry and Iris come up with a plan and turn to Cecile for help. So the first part of this, synopsis is very, very interesting. As Red Death wreaks havoc on Central City, so this pretty much means that Red Death, for whatever reason, is just going around Central City, absolutely massacring people, just highlighting the threat of the character. You have the speedster villain that pretty much doesn't care. She would do whatever means necessary to get what she wants. So that is pretty cool, and it does increase the threat of the character, and that is something I do like. But then this thing worries me. Barry and Iris come up with a plan and turn to Cecile for help. So it is no surprise that they're trying to push for Cecile going down this superhero path, and despite no one wanting this, no one even caring about it, they still want to go for it, which fair enough, everything's already filmed, there's nothing they can change or do anything about it, but it's clear they're going to turn to Cecile for some superhero stuff. Now obviously, in terms of this point in time, Cecile's biggest benefit is probably something to do with telepathic mind reading, stuff like that, and so that's just to, I guess, find out more about Red Death's backstory or something like that. Maybe they're trying to get Cecile to read into her head or something along those lines, at least. But Barry is faced with what he thinks was his greatest mistake and the Red Death's greatest success. Now, in regards to what this is, I have no idea. It is very, very intriguing, and before I even did this video, I was trying to find some theories in regards to what this could be. That is the Flash's greatest mistake, but the Red Death's greatest success, I can't really think of it. It could possibly be that Barry potentially finds out Red Death's plan, which is to build this time machine, and Barry pretty much stops it. So Red Death is forced to stay in this timeline, and that's why Red Death is wreaking havoc on Central City, because she cannot go back to her timeline anymore. She's just after the Flash, she's trying to lure the Flash, and that could potentially be what it is. So Barry pretty much stops Red Death from time traveling, but then in return, this is his greatest mistake, because now Red Death is wreaking havoc on Central City, and this is the way to essentially lure the Flash, and that's why it says the Red Death's greatest success. That could be something I could see, however, I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, it could be a lot of time travel stuff going on as well, because the ongoing theory at the moment is that this isn't a multiverse Red Death or anything like that. This is going to be Batwoman from Reverse Flashpoint, so it could be something in regards to erasing a timeline, and that's why Red Death no longer has anything left to lose. So it could be something like that as well. But then the next part of the synopsis, Keon wants to help Team Flash, but Barry can't risk losing her. Now, in regards to this, obviously Caitlyn's death didn't really have much of an emotional response, which did really, really suck. It was my biggest criticism for last episode, because the character as OG as Caitlyn did definitely need something much more important than, just them saying, oh wait, Caitlyn's dead, oh well, who cares? That's what it seemed like, and that wasn't something I was a fan of. But obviously we did get introduced to this brand new character Danielle Panabaker is playing, that of Keon. This is the new character she will be playing throughout the season. Yeah, we have seen a lot of her, quite a lot of her in episode 2 because the episode was highly focused on her. And she's a fairly likable character. You do see her differences between, Caitlyn and Frost as well. But in regards to her helping Team Flash, I don't think it's to do with like a pep talk or anything like that. This is her actually wanting to go out in the field. But Barry can't obviously risk losing her because, Barry cannot risk losing anyone else, especially after Caitlyn died. But this is interesting. Now, obviously, we know Keon is very attached to like nature and stuff like that. And in the episode, we did have a lot of shots of her, like, just admiring the nature and, a lot of like rain and stuff like that as well. So it does lead me to believe that Keon's powers, or if she does have powers, it will be something like nature related. Maybe she could control the nature. She could be like weather wizard or something like that. I don't know. That would be actually pretty cool to see. But like we did have that shot of her, like, feeling the rain, if you know what I mean, like that shot of her where she's like touching the window, started up, she's looking outside, just admiring nature and all of that. It does lead me to believe that she will be getting some sort of like nature like powers or something along those lines, and it could benefit Team Flash. And she wants to find her purpose. She wants to find out like what she wants to do with her life, and maybe that is to actually help Team Flash out there as well. So potentially Keon over here, she wants to use her powers and help Team Flash, but obviously Barry's like, no, I don't want to lose you, which fair enough. And then lastly, Joe gives Barry a very much needed pep talk. Now, obviously, hearing the word pep talk, it's a very, very scary word in terms of the Flash, but you do need to take into account this is a Joe and Barry pep talk, and those ones always land. So I'm gonna remain optimistic for this one. This one seems to be a good one, but overall, I am quite worried because of like the Cecile stuff. I really don't like the idea of them pushing forward with this, superhero thing that they're trying to give her. So I'm not really liking that. In terms of like Red Death wreaking havoc and all of that, I am interested. I'm interested to see Red Death's main plan and how Team Flash and Barry are, forced to like face off against that. I'm interested to see all of that. But yeah, it does seem like quite an interesting finale, to say the least, and obviously with a bunch of returning characters as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think about all of this. I'm interested to see all of your thoughts towards all of this as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.